seeing the Pope, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Shake and look at that. Look at that. He's still dirty from that dirty prison, ladies and gentlemen. There he is, VITALY. Looks like he's found some juice inside that Filipino prison there. He definitely hasn't had a bath. It looks like he's got bug bites all over him, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if VITALY's on meth again. I don't know if like the American prisons, you can get whatever drugs you want. I don't know what we're gonna see with VITALY. If you look at VITALY's face, I mean, that is a man on meth. And running around, doing what he did, obviously. A man on meth, ladies and gentlemen. You can't see it in that camera right here. But right over here, ladies and gentlemen, you have in the middle right here, Joe Rogan. You see it right here. You see it over there. Joe Rogan right here. Right here, John Anik, and right here, DC himself, ladies and gentlemen. Going to give you some commentary later on. Right here, you can't see it in that camera right there. Right here, you have Mr. Dana White himself and the Money Machine right here. Today, we have, brought to you by Fecked Up TV, ladies and gentlemen, we have Fecking Celebrity Bare Knuckle Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. It's VITALY versus the president of the Philippines, the regimed president of the Philippines, ladies and gentlemen. Here he is. None other than BongBong Marcos himself, ladies and gentlemen. Here he is. Don't. Whoa! I don't know. I don't believe the thing that, like, Marcos himself is on cocaine. I don't believe it. It didn't look like him, ladies and gentlemen, in that video. I hate when people start to do stuff like that. Blaming a man for crimes that he didn't commit. Some people blame other people for crimes that aren't even really crimes. Like the crime of taking somebody's hat off. Right here, VITALY. VITALY took somebody's hat off, and he's going to spend 5 to 7 years for that one. Now, I know it's an idiot thing to do. Okay? It was stupid. Nobody's going around here taking police officers' hats off. If they do, they get in trouble, right? Probably get like a $10 fine. Alright, making his way in the ring, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, this is the highlights and a recap of what happened earlier today. We're going with the main card first, ladies and gentlemen. And stepping in the ring, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Marcos himself. Let's check out his pants, ladies and gentlemen. Marcos had these pants made up right here. Check it out. Right here, the pants he has on, that's the Filipino flag, ladies and gentlemen. Which Marcos, later this year, Marcos is going to change the flag back to the Republic of the Philippines, ladies and gentlemen. He's the 17th president. I believe his dad was the 10th president. And then the 10th president, and then the 10th president, and then the 10th president, like that. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Check out Marco's pants, ladies and gentlemen. Let's spin that around. Let's get a look. Oh, yeah. Also, Marco's pants right here, if you look, they're also Mexican pants right there, 619, ladies and gentlemen. BongBong Marcos has Mexico tattooed on his belly right there. Because Mexico, the Philippines, El Salvador, and Honduras have the most illegal aliens in the United States, ladies and gentlemen. That's just a fun fact, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry about it. The other 3 countries, the people could just walk to the United States. But the Filipino people make a huge effort to go halfway around the world to become an illegal alien, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine if Trump wanted to make an example out of 350,000 illegal Filipinos in the United States. I mean, I don't want VITALY in the United States anyways. Even though I'm from Croatia, I'm the crow in the pro, ladies and gentlemen. Also known as side effect 1 foot cock, ladies and gentlemen. All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The highlights of the VITALY and the BongBong Marcos. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready to come to you right here, ladies and gentlemen. Finally getting to the action, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment you've been waiting for right here, ladies and gentlemen. Right here, you have VITALY versus BongBong Marcos right here. Your referee tonight, none other than the greatest referee of all time, ladies and gentlemen. Start over, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, fighting bare knuckle tonight. Celebrity boxing, ladies and gentlemen. You have VITALY versus BongBong Marcos. The greatest referee of all time, ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Glenn. Looking on right here, you have Dana White from the UFC and the Money Machine right there. And since this is the THRILLA and MANILA 2, ladies and gentlemen, this is brought to you by BongBong Marcos himself. BongBong Marcos himself can't pay his $353 million fine only because he doesn't want to the United States. But he's acting like he can't afford. He can go and see a dead guy in Rome, but he can't afford to house, feed, bed prisoners because the prison system is overcrowded in the Philippines because the Filipino people are very mild-mannered, well-behaved people, ladies and gentlemen. If you step foot off of a plane, I know this because I have Filipino family. If you step off a plane, you better be with a Filipino person that lives there. Because I went there with Filipino family, and the people figured it out there. The family that I went with, they hadn't been back there like 20-something years. Straight from the Philippines, my family is. We stepped off the plane and we were target the second we got there. It was scary. One guy said to my family member, he said, speaking in Filipino, told the guy, "You better get back on that plane, boy." And I'm talking, he's like an older guy, right? "You better get back on that plane." And he's like, "Why? I'm from here." And they said, "Not with those shoes you aren't." He knew it from the shirt, the shoes, everything. So we had to fork out some money as soon as we stepped off the plane, ladies and gentlemen. But the Filipino people are great people. We had to start bribing people to live. What a mistake I made. Going there with my family. "Oh, you don't have to worry about anything." I mean, I'm from the Philippines. He didn't take account for he's not wearing Filipino clothes. He looked like a tourist. He looked like an American Filipino. He didn't look like a Filipino Filipino. Alright, so later on in the fight, right? Let's get to the highlights. I mean, BongBong Marcos got his ass beat, ladies and gentlemen, by VITALY, the YouTuber, ladies and gentlemen.